Okay, so continuing on number 3, cosine of 4x plus 1. Every time we have a vertical shift, I like to graph that initial function and then do the shift at the end. So my amplitude here is 1. What's in front of the cosine function is just 1. The period, b is 4. So period is 2 pi over 4, which is just pi over 2. I divide this by 4, and I'm going to count by pi over 8. That's going to be my x-axis scale. There is no horizontal shift. The vertical shift is plus 1. But like we've talked about, let's graph this cosine of 4x, and then we'll worry about the vertical shift. All right, so I'm going to count by 1s on the y-axis, and we're going to count by pi over 8 on the x. Pi over 8, 2 pi over 8 is pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8 is pi over 2, 5 pi over 8. We could go the other direction as well. So I like to reduce those fractions because of a potential phase shift. If you do not reduce those fractions, it's okay. Just be aware that if you did have a phase shift, it would be a reduced fraction. Okay, so cosine starts up high. Like I said, we're going to do it without the shift first. So cosine starts up at 1, goes down to -1, comes up again, and like I said, we continue the pattern. Just dots. All right, looks good. Great. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to shift all of our points up 1 because of the vertical shift. I think this is the easiest way to do it because there's not a lot of, you're not doing too much at once. So there we go, in purple. Looks great. All right, and then this one's a little bit of a doozy because it's got everything in it. So 1/2 sine pi over 2x minus 2. So the amplitude is 1/2. The period is 2 pi over 2, which if you reduce the fraction, simplify this down, you should get 4. The pi's are going to cancel and you'll have 2 times 2, which is 4. And I'm going to count by 1s. Totally fine that it doesn't have a pi in it. That's still a radian measure. It's just like 1. There is no horizontal shift. And the vertical shift is going to be 2, okay, minus 2. All right, a lot going on. So let's take it step by step. Once again, like we've always talked about, let's do this chunk first, and then we'll shift it down 2. All right, so I think I'm going to count by, like, skip every other on the y-axis, and we can adjust as needed. Not a big deal. Okay. Count by 1s, so this is a little bit easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and -1, -2, -3, -4. Great. Like I said, only this piece. All right. So sine starts at the origin. There is no horizontal shift, so that is where it's going to start. So keep it starting at the origin. Okay. Then it's going to go up to 1/2 because the amplitude is 1/2. And it's going to go down to -1/2. So, and we're going to continue this pattern so that we get 2 cycles of this curve. Okay. So you get something that looks like this pre-vertical shift. All right, now we've got to go down 2. Now each one of these is a half, so just be careful. So this unit goes down 2. So we have 1/2 minus 2, which would be -1/2. 0 minus 2. Okay, -1/2